golden era. This term alone sparked nostalgia. But what if it was more than that? What if it was a blueprint for us guys in the modern era to follow through? Before we dive in, ask yourself this. Why do the golden era physiques still feel so untouchable? Even with better science, better nutrition, and more advanced drugs today, something about those bodies remains superior in the eyes of many. Maybe it's the nostalgia, or maybe it's something that they did differently. The modern physique might be bigger, drier, and more conditioned, but something is missing. There is an almost artistic beauty in the old school proportion, the waistline, and the harmony. Modern training sometimes chases extreme, but the golden era chased balance. It wasn't just about being big. It was about looking good, like a statue carved from marble, and that intention shaped every rep, every set, and every meal. In this video, I will show you 5 principles that you can use to better your training and follow through those legends. Rule number 1. Train for power, not just a pump. Power and strength was a symbol of legitimacy. If you couldn't lift heavy, no one took you seriously. Arnold, who is known for his bodybuilding, aesthetic, pump-loving training, had a foundation in heavy lifting from his powerlifting days in Austria. Indeed, Arnold was able to bench at his strongest 200 kg bench press, 220 on the squat, and deadlifted more than 320 kg, which at the time was actually a German record. This was not just for the ego, it was translated to dense full muscle that you can flex even better. Another guy who was built like a brick house was Bill Pearl, standing at 6 foot and 220 pounds, so 183 centimeter and 100 kg. He could bench press 200 kg, squat almost 300, you could curl 90 kg, and he could reverse curl the 60. That is amazing. And guess what? The physique reflected it. A frame was built with those compound lifts. Then, afterwards, they would just refine it. There is even guys like Franco Colombo, which was one of his lightest competitor, that was able to deadlift well over 320 kg or 700 pounds. It set the tone. Strength equal respect. And that is the same thing for the natural. If we talk about Marvin Eder, he was able to dips with 2 guys strapped to his legs, which is more than 180 kg. And he was also able to snatch close to the 140 and has been seen doing the bench press with 4 plates despite not being over himself 90 kg. Another guy who is quite well known for his strength was Reg Park, who was able to toy around with 60 kg dumbbell for most of his workout, whatever the incline, whatever if it is shoulder or incline or flat presses. All of this translated to thick erectors, developed traps, strong joint, and complete physique, poised and balanced physique. All the foundations that is needed to later on have effective isolation work. This principle is almost forgotten today, replaced by influencer, I guess, chasing pump-only workout. The rule number 2 is to prioritize simple, basic movement. People today like to do some program hopping because of his social media, TikTok or Instagram. But the golden era mindset was to master the basics. Larry Scott famously stuck to preacher curl for most of his biceps training. And by the way, he got up to 36 kg dumbbell per hand while doing it. Why? Because it worked. Arnold was famous to stuck to bench press. Why? Because it worked. And Tom Plass was famous to stuck with squats. Why? Because it works. They did not chase novelty. They chased progressive overload with laser focus. And when machines were used, they were the finishing tool, not the core of a workout. So even when they started to have access to Nautilus and Atlantis machines, they would use them sparingly or with a purpose, but never as a standalone equipment that is replacing everything else. So they were not distracted by excessive variety. A simple workout that most of them did when they started out was full body training, trispheric and with simple exercise. For example, there is the Arnold Golden 6, squat, bench press, chin-up, barbell curl, abs. That's it. They perfected the movement, the range of motion, the control, the tempo, and then they added weight. And then they added variety, just like Arnold did, again, with his full body training. The simplicity creates the result. It also creates the consistency. There is less decision fatigue, so you have more effort to have in the gym, and the possibility to focus more into the gym. The rule number 3 was to start out with, again, as I said, the whole body, not just a split. When I told you about Arnold Golden 6, or when I told you about old school training with full body, it was not just the champ, it was everyone. And they all started out here. Our Paul, which is one of the champions that made Sergio Oliva and Larry Scott sweat multiple times at the Olympia, trained most of his career into full body. Robbie Robinson, the Black Prince, started out with a full body training daily or almost daily, doing 10 by 10 per exercise, which is utterly crazy. But that's how they all started. We can talk about Steve Reese, who was doing basically the same thing, especially when he was prepping for competition. And we can talk about, again, Reg Park, who was doing close to 90 sets per full body training, and he was training 4 times per week when preparing for competition. They knew all of that would create balance, harmony, and a recovery synergy. They knew that it would affect deeply their appetite, their hormone, and that they would need to actually recover from this workout to let the body grow. For them, it was sustainable. Training your whole body does not mean to do more. It means to organize effort across systems. Upper body pull, a push, a squat, add variation, repeat. Recovery was built into the training structure. So some train every other day, overtrained basically 3 times per week. But the system supported the adaptation. And this split system became more common in the 80s. But many Golden Era legends stuck to full body or half body in off-season before switching. Rule number 4, they focused on the mind-muscle connection. So they didn't just train to be hard, they trained present. Arnold described it like meditation, a deep focus on every single rep. The mind-muscle connection develops neuromuscular efficiency. Essentially, you're teaching your brain to find the muscle better. And the result is that you will have better contraction, more work done per rep, and a better hypertrophy long term. You'll notice when modern guys slow down on taping, their physique instantly look more classic. That was not like a spiritual fluff or a placebo. It was a technique. Slowing down a rep, feeling the tension, adjusting the angle of a wrist or elbow, that is the magic of the mind-muscle connection. Frank Zane was reputed to train in silence and with his eyes closed during a set, fully immersed. The more modern guys that you can see doing this is Mike O'Hearn. The brain-body connection amplifies the result. You do not just lift, you experience the set. Each rep is like a sculptor stroking at a marble to create his masterpiece. So it's not just how much you lift and how long you lift, but how you actually lift and how you deeply engage with the work you're doing into the gym. Last but not least is to eat real food and forget the gimmicks. Imagine walking into Golden Gym Venice with just eggs and red meat and potatoes in your stomach. So there is no pre-workout buzz, there is no creatine cycle. They relied on raw energy and not just chemical enhancement. Many of the things that you are trying to get desperately into your supplement is actually already present into your food. You just need to be able to eat enough and actually buy the quality food. Many also followed the famous drinking milk by the gallon method, which is quite extreme but effective. And these days, some bodybuilders are more focused on the powder timing than actually the lifting, which is a mistake. The food was simple and aligned with the training goal. You had your red meat for iron and B vitamins, you had your eggs for fat and protein and cholesterol, you had your milk for caloric and the insulin response, you had the starches to fuel your workout, you had the fruits to add even more vitamin and water, and there was no tracking macro on an app, they were tracking progress in the mirror and on the barbell. The supplementation was minimal to non-existent, because believe it, at the time, supplementation was actually disgusting and extremely expensive. So real food was king, and they view it as full, not a fix. That distinction shaped their physique. So if you're tired of overcomplication, maybe it's time to go back to the roots. What's old is new. Do let me know if those tips have helped you already into your workout and your training. If not, apply them and let me know how this goes. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon for another video. And remember, old school never dies, it just gets rediscovered.